Prime Field.
UConn just lost its first portal piece of the offseason. And it might be the first crack in a much bigger roster shakeup. Ayanna Patterson is out. Ice Brady followed within 48 hours. And now the real debate starts. Is this normal offseason trimming for a title contender, or are we watching the beginning of a full-on UConn roster domino effect? Because when a program goes 38-1, wins the Big East again, and still can't keep former 5 stars happy, that tells you this is not just about one player. This is about minutes, health, fit, and a cold new reality in college hoops. Today we're breaking down Patterson's exit, why it feels bigger than just one transfer, and then I'm ranking the 5 most likely Huskies to be next in or out based on 3 things: playing time, injury history, and roster, fit for 2026 to 27. And trust me, the top of this list is not the most controversial part. The real debate is at the end, because one name on here could split the fan base right down the middle. Let's start with the first domino. Ayanna Patterson entering the portal is not shocking because of the box score. It's shocking because of what she represented. This was a former number 4 recruit, a player who came to Stores with major expectations, elite athleticism, and legit star upside. But the UConn version of Patterson never really got a fair shot at becoming that player, because her career turned into a brutal injury cycle almost immediately. According to the research, Patterson dealt with left knee issues that escalated into full reconstructive surgery, then later suffered back-to-back shoulder injuries that led to another season-ending surgery. There was a stretch of 960 days where she didn't log a single competitive minute. That is devastating for any player, but especially for somebody whose identity was built on burst, power, and explosiveness. And when she finally returned in 2025 to 26, the numbers told the story. She played in 30 games, but averaged just 5.0 minutes, 1.7 points, and 1.4 rebounds. That is not rotation security. That is hanging on the edge of the depth chart and hoping for a breakthrough that never came. The biggest tell? Senior Day. Patterson walked through that ceremony as a graduate even though she still had eligibility left, and her own comments basically sounded like someone who knew the decision might not be in her hands. That matters. Fans can call it mutual, call it practical, call it inevitable, whatever word you want, but the message was clear. Her path at UConn had closed. But here's why that this is bigger than one sad injury story. Because once Patterson left, Ice Brady hit the portal too. And suddenly the entire 2022 frontcourt class is basically a cautionary tale. That group was supposed to be the future. Instead, injuries and roster evolution erased the runway before it ever really opened. And this is where UConn becomes a fascinating debate topic. Did the program fail these players? Or did the roster simply move faster than their recovery timelines? Look at the current reality. Sarah Strong exploded into the center of everything, putting up 18.4 points and 7.7 rebounds while also functioning like a point forward. Blanca Quinones keeps growing. Olivia Vukosa is arriving. Giovanna Popovic is arriving. So if you're a player trying to come back from injury or develop slowly, where exactly are the minutes supposed to come from? This is the part fans don't always want to hear. Elite programs are becoming even more transactional. Gino basically said the sport has changed. Portal veterans matter more. Immediate contributors matter more. Development projects are harder to justify. So what you're seeing at UConn may not be dysfunction. It may just be the most honest version of modern roster management. And honestly, there's a parallel here to the Texas-Vanderbilt seeding debate from the research. Texas jumped Vanderbilt not because it was cleaner top to bottom, but because the committee valued ceiling. The best wins, the bigger punch, the stronger resume density. UConn's roster building now feels similar. The program's prioritizing maximum upside and immediate availability over sentiment or patience. So if Patterson and Brady are the first 2 dominoes, who could be next? Let's rank them. At number 3, I've got Morgan Chili, and yes, this is the spicy one. This one is less about fit and more about uncertainty. She lost crucial development time to injury, didn't play during the 2025 to 26 season, and now has to re-enter a backcourt that got deeper without her. That is brutal timing. If she's healthy, she can absolutely fight for a role. But if the path still looks muddy by summer, a reset somewhere else makes sense. At number 2, Kellis Fisher. This one feels very Portal era obvious. Former top recruit, real talent, but only 5.8 minutes per game. As a freshman in a crowded guard room ahead of her. KK Arnold, Ashlyn Shade, Heckle, Ali Zabel. And now Popovich coming in? That's a traffic jam. Fisher is exactly the kind of player another high major would try to pry loose with the promise of 25 minutes a night. And at number 1, the most likely next domino, Gandhi Malou-Mamel. This is just a math problem. She played only 2 games and 4 total minutes this season. Then UConn adds a polished, highly touted 6'4" center in Olivia Vukosa. That basically slams the door on the developmental runway. Sometimes a transfer prediction sounds harsh, but this one feels like the cleanest logic on the board. She needs minutes. UConn needs immediate impact. That's usually how portal decisions get made. Now here's the bigger question. Is that a bad thing for UConn? This is where I think the comments section is going to go crazy. One side will say this is just what title programs do now. The roster gets tightened. Injured players who can't reclaim major roles move on. New stars replace old projections. And if you're UConn, coming off 38, but the other side will say something else. When multiple former elite recruits leave and the class gets wiped out by injury and fit issues, maybe that's not just bad luck. Maybe that says something about how hard it is to survive in the system if your body betrays you even once. That doesn't mean blame. It does mean the margin for patience at UConn might be thinner than fans want to admit, and that's why Patterson's exit hit so hard. Gino praised her character, her work ethic, all of that. But even with all of that, there was still no real lane back to a meaningful role. That tells you the bar at UConn isn't just talent. It's health, timing, versatility, and whether your game still fits what the roster has become. So here's my prediction. I think one more frontcourt player leaves before the next big portal deadline, and if I had to bet on the first call, it's Gandhi Malou-Mamel. Kellis Fisher's the one I'd watch right after that. But the name that could completely detonate the fan debate? Morgan Shelley. Because if UConn starts optimizing purely for offensive spacing and lineup balance, the conversation around who fits next to Sarah Strong gets very uncomfortable, very fast. And that's the cliffhanger for this offseason. Is UConn reloading or quietly reshaping its identity in a way that will push even more proven players to make tough decisions? If you enjoyed this one, hit subscribe because this offseason is going to be chaos and we're covering all of it. Drop your ranking in the comments, tell me which name I'm too high on, and tell me which name I was too scared to put at number 1. And be honest, if you're one of these fringe rotation UConn players, are you staying to fight for 5 to 10 minutes on a contender or leaving to start somewhere else?
Prime Field!